Hello, welcome to JIBRIN Angle on Oweleke TV. My name is JIBRIN, and this is my angle. I'm here again today, as usual, with my regular guests and special guests. His name is Barrister Austin Manta, a very, very senior lawyer, and who is also a public affairs analyst, someone that is so good at that as well. We shall also be having in a couple of minutes our other guest, who is a journalist, Mr. Segun Onibio. He will be joining us shortly. So we shall be discussing several issues that bother us, generally including global stuff. We shall be talking about Dangote, everything that has to do with Dangote lately. We shall be talking about that. We shall also be discussing extensively about the anticipated August protest, the protest in Nigeria coming up between August, I think starting from 1st of August. It will take a span into, I think, about some days, into, I think, the first week of August. I think that's what they are. That's the dates the protest is scheduled for. We shall also be talking about Tinubu's action concerning his reactions concerning the protests. We shall be talking about Tinubu's style of leadership that has to do with staying away from interviews and from the media, direct contact with the media. We will be talking about, and lastly, we shall be talking about the American politics, specifically about the latest development in the American politics, the latest twist in the American politics. So these are the topics we shall be dealing with on this show, on this episode of this show. And so that is it. So let's get it on. Barrister, Dangote, so many things have happened with Dangote lately. Now, I got curious because Dangote is not, naturally, is not a media person. Dangote is not a public person per se. In fact, for the first time, I've not really watched his interview that long until recently. And I watched and listened to him, and I noticed what I noticed in his voice was frustration. I noticed desperation. I noticed fear. In fact, I surprisingly, this is what we're talking about, the richest man in Africa, the most powerful man in Africa as with regard to business and enterprising. So that is it. That's what we are talking about here. I watched him where he gave the difference between the oil and oil cabal and drug cabals, or mafia rather, oil mafians, and between the difference between oil mafians and drug mafians, where he actually said that the oil mafians are more powerful than the drug mafians. And yes, and there's several other issues where he publicly, openly, it's obvious that for Dangote to come out openly to begin to directly accuse the government of practically trying to sabotage him, trying to put a clog in the wheel of progress for his company, to his company rather, and all that stuff. I don't understand. What do you think? Even though I have my reason why all these things are happening, what do you think? What is your opinion about all this madness between the government and Dangote? Remember, this Dangote, me, I'm not a fan of Dangote right from time. However, on this, I think I'll come back to my opinion. Because I've not been a fan of Dangote. Dangote has been a manipulator of the government, of every successful government in Nigeria since the inception, the advent of democracy in Nigeria. And Dangote has always been monopolizing the business, especially the importation sphere, or in the importation area of business in Nigeria. He has monopolized everything. He has monopolized cement production and importation, rice importation, virtually almost everything. He has monopolized it, sort of. So he's that kind of person who bulldozes his way through the business. The worst part is that my own problem with him is that he's not doing it by competition. He's not actually doing it by competition, but at least trying to compete with others. No, he's just trying. What he does is uses the power he has, the influence he has with the government, with every successful government, to actually muzzle out, to actually push through policies, to actually push out any competitor, not giving, thereby not giving government, not giving an open and enabling environment to other prospective competitors, either prospective or existing competitors, to actually try their own, try their best. So the policy actually favors him, favors his company, thereby monopolizing him as the sole and exclusive business or exclusive business owner in that line of field, in various line of field, especially importation, sort of. So I'm not a fan of. I've always criticized Dangote for so long, but on this matter, I think I have a different view. But I'll come back to my view later. So, Barrister, what is your thought on all this madness?
Thank you very much, JIBRIN.
Sorry, before you go, let me welcome Segun.
Okay.
All right. I think yeah, Segun has joined us. Welcome to JIBRIN Angle, Mr. Segun Onibio. Okay. I think before I think he's trying to take care of his mic. Before then, like I said earlier, Segun Onibio is a journalist, a senior journalist. He is one of the I think he said, I think I'm not too sure. I think one of the organizers of this protest, the August 1st protest coming up. So he has have so many questions to ask him on that, and I think he'll be the one to actually update us on the progress and what we should expect. So please, Mr. Sheikh, can you mute your mic? Okay. All right. So once again, welcome to the show. And right now we're actually talking about Dangote issue. So Manta was the one that wanted he's actually the one to speak before you came in. So let's hear him, please. Barrister, please go ahead.
Thank you very much. This issue is a very germane issue in Nigeria, particularly at this time. And as always, I always want to give a background. If you cast your mind back to 1999, when Obasanjo came to power as the president, at that time, there were 19 licenses were given for refinery establishment, for people to establish private individuals and companies to establish refineries. Before then, and even up to now, it was a monopoly of the NNPC. Now, the curious thing is that for the 23 years or 24 years from 1999 to now, it's only the Dangote refinery that eventually came on stream, in point of speaking. And the refinery is one of the largest. It's about 650,000 capacity refinery. We have been importing petroleum products of all kinds, from diesel to PMS to other products. And over time, a cartel or cabal has emerged that control this process. You know about the oil subsidy. People were raking so much money in phantom receipts. People who did not bring products will get receipts stamped by government and get paid subsidies for products that they did not import. All manner of frauds, like the Nigerian situation, you know how it goes. We're going on. Now, Dangote has come with this refinery in which he has invested about $20 billion in the establishment of. It's really a gigantic economic enterprise. Now, the issues that have been thrown up on the coming on stream of the refinery are things that I think we mentioned it on this forum some time back. Number one, access to crude oil for the refinery to refine and sell. It didn't make sense that you, a Nigerian, will establish a refinery in Nigeria, a crude oil producing country, and you will not be able to get crude oil from Nigeria to service your refinery. For many of us, it never made sense, and up to today, it does not make sense to me. Dangote had to go as far as US and other places to search for crude to use in his own refinery. Now, according to the government, Dangote made demands on the government to restrict importation of petroleum products because his refinery, according to him, has the capacity to supply the country with its domestic requirement. The government, on the other hand, is arguing that Dangote wants a monopoly of the product, and it is not ideal for the economy to have a monopoly of a product like oil, which is the mainstay of the economy. So that argument is what led to this bust out. Look at Dangote. I watched his interview. You can see we have always known that he's in his late 60s, but he has looked very fit. He has looked younger. But in his last interview, you can see this is the first time I've seen his head all over full of gray hair, full of white hair. I've never seen that kind of thing. He is always having a very good composure, a very good physique. But you see now somebody who is in panic, somebody who is angry, somebody who is afraid, and who will not be, who has put in $20 billion of investment in the project, for which he is now standing in peril, part of which are loans from several institutions, including even our CBN. Now, if the federal government is insisting that they will continue with importation to compete with Dangote, this is a mono product. I don't know how that competition will come about, because the price of importing fuel on the international market, we have had the situation of subsidy consistently, since it's a long time way back. We have had this issue: import fuel, sell at a minimum cost, and they give subsidy to the importers. It is that very thing that they don't want to let go. They do not want to let go, because even as we speak, government is still paying subsidies for importation of products, even though they will come up and tell you that we are not, they are deregulated. It's just partial deregulation of the oil industry. It's not full. if they were to completely remove the subsidy, a barrel, a liter of fuel will sell over 1,000 naira in Nigeria today. So they are paying subsidy. And a lot of people benefit from that because Nigeria is what it is. Fake receipts, repetitive receipts for the same products, all manner of fraudulent activities go into importation and the payment of subsidies. The Kaba or clique that control that would not let go easily. They are going to put up a fight. It's like you are trying to tamper with somebody's means of livelihood. On the other hand, we have to fashion out whether it is better to give Dangote the monopoly that he seeks or continue with that corrupt system that disturbs our energy prices in Nigeria on a continuous basis. It's something that has to be thoroughly studied with facts and data. Now, every country, even in the US today, a $20 billion investment is massive. And even the US, the government will try as much as it can to protect such an investment. We need to protect the investment of Dangote in that refinery, not only for the benefit of our people, but by way of encouraging private people to bring money and invest in Nigeria. If what Dangote is going through now is allowed to go on, who else will come and build another refinery to compete with him? Even as we speak, Dangote is already saying that if he had known that he will go through these problems, he would not have ventured into this business. We need as many people as possible to invest in the oil sector, both the upstream and the downstream, to build as many refineries as possible. That is where competition comes. You cannot punish a person for being a front runner, being the sole establisher of a refinery, and turn around to tell him that he is a monopoly. It's not by his doing that he's a monopoly. He is the first person to build. Create the conditions that other people will also come with their money and build more refineries. Only then will there be competition. But we don't want a situation where there will be competition between a local industry and foreign interest. That is where my problem comes.
Yeah, but foreign interest, you're calling it foreign interest. It is the same local industry and local interest, because it's all about local interest.
Local interests that benefit foreign industries or foreign countries in that way. So I would prefer that we have the monopoly of Dangote. If that refinery succeeds, if other people with money, with large capital see that industry succeeding, they will come in. They will come in.
All right, thank you so much. Like I said earlier, yeah, you just said it again. You just almost repeated that point, that what you noticed, what I noticed in Dangote when I watched the interview. Honestly, he has never. This is the first time Dangote is exhibiting weakness. I was shocked when he actually publicly. In fact, I was surprised. Such kind of comment. I expected him to make it behind the scene, sort of, but he actually made that statement. When he made that statement, I cringed. When he said that he regretted, he's regretting making such investment or whatever. And I asked myself, that shocking from such statement coming from someone like Dangote, who has been a business mogul since early 80s, sort of. So he's been in business since Shagari regime. So I am surprised he made that statement, because that you are regretting, man, $20 billion. My God, someone invested $20 billion. And he's now coming out to say that he's regretting doing that. I wonder, when I heard that, I asked myself, what the hell is this man talking about? Somebody spent a whopping $20 billion in an investment, and at the end of the investment, he excuse me, he regretted doing that. What happened? $20 billion is not chicken change, for God's sake. Just like you said, an investment like this, even in the US government will fight tooth and nail to protect that business. So it's a very humongous investment. You're making such a whatever, you're making such investment without putting everything on the table, every possibility, all possibilities on the table. For God's sake, you are coming into a business that already have, just like you mentioned, just like he said, mafia, a mafia kind of, a mafiaric kind of enclosure. I will use that word. A sort of that. It will be difficult for you to just break. This is an established. I call it racketeering, oil mine racketeering. So you should. I expected you to expect this blowback as a businessman. I expected him to expect this for him to begin to regret. You should expect this blowback and prepare for it. So that was honestly, this is Dangote at his weakest moment. Excuse me. I actually sympathize with him. Like I said, very, very unlike me. This is the first time I'm sympathizing with Dangote. Dangote, I've always hammered Dangote over the years for his monopoly, muzzling everyone out of all competition, including perceived competitors. He muzzled everyone out of and monopolized the entire importation. And this one, just like you've noted the reason why this one is difficult for him to monopolize. Even though I am of the same opinion with you that I rather he monopolized the oil industry right now instead of this importation. We need to. I don't care the issue of because we don't have, like you said, 19 licenses were issued. So nobody except him has actually utilized utilized the license. So if he monopolizes, that's fine. But unlike other areas of business, importation especially, and production, manufacturing as well, is sort of where he has monopolized. Where we have other competitors who are actually, they have the capital, they have the capital know-how to actually invest in that area, but he monopolized, he muzzled them, pushed them, bulldozed them out of the line or whatever. So that's a different ball game. So unlike the oil or so, I don't mind him monopolizing the oil right now. I don't even call it monopoly because
let me add something that I should have added before you go on, please. You know, in the past, I have opposed Dangote's monopoly, which came to the head during Obasanjo's government took deliberate steps to favor Dangote to make sure that he monopolized his business, the business he was engaging. My complaint and my opposition at that time was that he was just a middleman. He was importing products, sugar, cement, other things, and selling in Nigeria. He was not giving real value to the economy. So I felt that in such a thing, nobody should be allowed to have monopoly of buying and selling. He did not add value to the economy to a certain level. In this particular instance, he is doing production in Nigeria that eventually will even freight us foreign exchange by export of petroleum products. So this is a difference from the kind of business he had been doing before, where he was just a middleman, buy product here, come and add money and sell, and then manipulate the prices. This one is different. Nigeria can earn a lot of foreign exchange from the business he has invested in.
Yeah, that is why you're absolutely right. That's why I was trying to actually make that distinction between the monopoly of importation and the oil industry. So of course, that is why I have the opinion. I'm of the same opinion with you that I don't mind him monopolizing the oil, because what we need is to actually patronize our own and actually build our economy as well. That is what is important in all of this. So let's go to Shegun. Shegun, what's your thought on this, please?
Well, good morning.
Good morning.
And it's an interesting topic. We all know that developed countries around the world don't exist without monopoly. The United States of America is built on the backs of men and women with grit, men and women who are willing and to make profits and, of course, make a name for themselves and make America great. And that is one of the reasons why America is what it is today. How much of the US government money is in a business that we do today that made America great? Even the people who sell weapons, all the American government does is, of course, create the enabling environment for them to be able to sell, despite the fact that we think wars are not necessary. It is quite unfortunate that this is happening now, especially to Dangote. A lot of people way back then, of course, I at a point wanted to criticize him, but of course I look also at the issue of monopoly, and I looked at it clearly. You have to have a lot of deep guts, not just guts. You have to have a lot of deep guts for you to be able to venture into business in Nigeria and try. You have to have a lot of connection and wit also to be able to hold down monopoly and be able to thrive for so long. We're talking about somebody who has been in business for close to 30 years, if not more than, monopolizing all aspects of life and business. So I don't see why this is different. It is, as a matter of fact, it is a matter of interest that all of this is happening. I can tell you authoritatively from here, from investigations carried out, that there are some people who have ventured interest in this particular business. And the percentage that is being cost to them is not favorable to them. That's one of the reasons why you see they're fighting Dangote today. Farouk is not just making noise and talking about licensing. The government is not just standing up and talking about him doing this and that and all of that on the ordinary. It is because the interest of some powerful people is not represented. Look at the issue of electricity. Look at how hard the government had to fight before it was privatized, and how Nigerians are even going around it to survive. I don't see this really as an issue for Dangote, because I can tell you authoritatively from here too that he's going to survive it, and it's going to be very good. Unfortunately, what we've had for a very long time in the country and people, we have not had leadership. And that's one of the reasons why it seems it's a bit difficult for us, because people don't want to do anything without putting their interest in it. What is in it for me? You go to the table of the clerk in an office and you want a document signed. As ordinarily, you pass through that person's desk without you even showing your face. They will ask you to pay for it to be signed. So this is a very good fight. If it is going to be something that is going to liberate other people who would want to invest in Nigeria, because you mentioned something earlier, and Barrister also mentioned it too, talking about what was it now? I don't want to paraphrase. I want to use the exact word that you guys use concerning how this business came about. The government cannot say they don't know that this is what Dangote is going into. Investigations that came out some months back showed that even Buhari sold crude oil to the tune of 5 to 7 years, I think, in advance, and collected the money to get loans.
Yeah.
And I'm telling you authoritatively from here again that Bola Ahmed Tinubu has done the same thing. So for I think 2 or 3 years before he was exposed, and he had to stop. And that's one of the reasons why they're going back to taxing people to raise funds to run the economy. And they're running a plan that nobody knows. It's off the head. All they do is just come up and they tell you, oh, Mr. JIBRIN, today on your show, what we want to see are men that are dressed like women. That's the kind of policy that they have. These things are not drawn. It is off the head. I've worked with Cardoso before. When I don't know his position then in Lagos State when Fashola was governor, before Fashola became governor and Fashola became governor. What these guys do, they have very brilliant, fantastic ideas that have not been tested. And that is where we have the problem. What we're doing with Nigeria now is exploring some of these policies to see which one will work, which one would not work. And look at where we are. I would have expected this government to back Dangote up in this business, to shut down any other form of importation. They are beginning to import adulterated fuel. Very soon, you will soon begin to hear that people are burning up in their cars and petrol stations are catching fire, and people are buying adulterated kerosene, and people are being burned up. And nobody's talking about all of it. These are part of the accumulated problem. So for me, let me, in conclusion on this matter, Dangote is going to win if Nigerians want him to win, not the government. If Nigerians want him to win, he would win. The refinery is already set up. You saw what happened between himself and the NNPC concerning petroleum blending in Malta. People were insulting Dangote and saying he's lying until the man released documents. Did you hear anything from NNPC anymore? Everybody kept quiet. Why? Because the government in power, Seyi Tinubu, is also at the top of the chain of the people who are benefiting from all of this business. So why should we have my family and friends incorporation running Nigeria? So when he talks about Mafia and he talks about cabal, you know what he's talking about. Some of these people who belong to this cabal and this Mafia that we're talking about are retired generals and retired head of state, retired statesmen that don't get to see their faces on. They are the ones doing all of this. So we can only argue and talk about all of this because they have not been caught the right percentage. Once they get the right percentage, I can assure you, Mr. JIBRIN, all of this noise will go down. And you would hear, that, okay, look, this is a Nigerian-owned business that should thrive. Nigeria should support him and back him up. Do you think people who are importing petroleum are making billions of naira from it just want the business to go poof? They would not. They will do anything until the man is brought down. But of course, knowing Dangote well, and of course knowing that he's a very good businessman, he would find his way through this ocean. And I'm sure at the end of the day, Nigeria will win.
Yeah, thank you so much for that take. You are absolutely right that he will win at the end of the day. However, he's winning. You pointed it out earlier that his winning has to be with the backing of the generality of Nigerians, a sort of the masses of the common man on the street, because people have to be on. In fact, the common man have to, and I believe that is why he chose, because Dangote is not such person. He has always exuded that strength when it comes to matters like when it comes to business or in the past. For the first time, when I watched that interview, I just noticed weakness in him. I noticed fear, desperation, anger, everything that had to do with weakness was just prevalent in that interview. So obviously he was well advised to actually take this whole thing, go wash your dirty linen in the public, because that's the only way you can act. The only way you can win this battle is to actually garner the support, the empathy and the sympathy of the public. The moment you get the empathy and the sympathy of the public, they are the only ones that can really help you fight this battle. Otherwise, you are not going to win, because it's about money. Just like you said, selfish interest. When it comes to money, people don't let go. No matter what, no matter the pressure, they don't let go except until it threatens their lives. That's when they let go. In fact, some people, they even die with that threat. They don't care. So that is just the only way. That's the only way he can actually win this battle, by actually winning the support of the public. And that's probably he's taking the right strategy. That's the only way, because this cabal you mentioned, we all are talking about, the mafians, the mafia and mafians that we are all talking about. My God, this oil thing, it's not easy to break through. So Dangote is too small for them, because it's a conglomerate of the powers that be, people who have ruled at the highest level of the public. So you just can't, Dangote alone cannot, he knows that, he can't match them. He can't match them. It's just unlike the competitors you have in the importation industry. These are just cookies. Importation competitors are cookies compared to oil moguls. So you are absolutely right on that. So I think the only way, his best bet is to win this battle is through by the public. That is just it. So that is it anyway. Thank you guys for that.